Hello and welcome all. Thank you, audience, for being here. Um, I hope that you realize that this really is for you first. All of these amazing speakers, the production team, everyone is here for you first. Yes, we are here to reach more and talk more and work with more, but the main mission and vision is all about you, and we want to make a difference, a positive impact. Carroll Patrizi, I am humbled and honored to be your host, and we are here today. I'm going to tell you, you have a wonderful speaker here today. Shiraz Baboo is here. He is a reality interventionist. And Shiraz, the little time we have gotten to spend together has been very, very special. Would you please introduce yourself and tell us what in the world is that? What do you do? And how in the world does that relate to accountability?
So a reality interventionist is someone that, similar as when someone does an intervention because you're doing drugs or alcohol and it's hurting you and the people around you. I've found people are addicted to their reality.
Mm,
So some people are addicted to struggle. Some people are addicted to victimhood. Some people are addicted to illness. And the thing is, when that's happening, we don't look at it like, oh, I've got this addiction. We just think that's life. The world is always against me, or I can never make the money I want, or the opportunities don't show up. However, it's actually an addiction.
mm.
And, I discovered this because I used to get stopped at borders all the time. And the first time it happened, it was funny because I was with a bunch of friends and they were all white and I was black and they stopped me, but not my friends. Like,
Okay.
oh, okay, this is racism. This is just what I'm going through. And I would get stopped every single time.
Oh,
And it lowered my confidence, it lowered my ambitions. This is what I have to go through all the time.
mm.
And it wasn't until I was working with a coach that he said, Shiraz, like, when are you going to stop with this story? And I'm like, this isn't a story. This is racism. Like, this is just a thing. It's out there. And he goes, racism is a thing. Racism's out there. It's bad. But what you're going through is a story. And I'm like,
Ah,
what? He said, Shiraz, you don't get denied jobs because you're black. You don't get stopped in traffic because you're black. There's all these things that happen to black people, and none of them happen to you. You only get stopped at borders. That's a story. And I'm like, wait, what?
yeah, come on, man.
Right? But I've had people even admit that this was because, like, when I was traveling in Europe, I had one of the guys, I said, is this your black check? And he goes, look, I just got to do what my boss is telling me. And I said, did your boss tell you to stop the black people? And he goes, yeah. I said,
Wow.
I have evidence. This is racism. This is a black thing.
Wow.
And here's the thing is this coach taught me about stories. And what he taught me is that everyone has stories, and we think we have good stories and we think we have bad stories. But to our unconscious mind, they're only good stories, right? So we're like, I find the best parking spots. That's a great story. My business never
Sure.
goes where it's supposed to be. That's a bad story.
Right.
So then why are they only good stories? Well, you have a story that solves an emotional issue. It either gives you a fix or it avoids an emotional distress, right? So, for instance, some people want to make a lot more money. However, when you start digging into it, you find out, well, if I make a lot of money, people are going to start asking me for money, and I feel like I'm going to be guilted into giving it to them, or I don't want to have those conversations. I don't want my family coming up in my face. And so your subconscious says, you know what? If we don't make the money, we never have to have those conversations. Problem solved.
Problem solved.
So unconsciously, you don't want to make the money. Consciously, you do. So you're working really hard to make the money, but you keep sabotaging yourself to stay safe from that emotional distress that you're afraid is going to show up. Right.
Okay.
The other thing that could happen is you could be in a position where you're going through struggles and people are giving you compassion. So when I was talking to my coach, I said, look, if there's a story, there's always a positive side. What's the positive side to me getting stopped all the time? I'm getting delayed. I'm getting my luggage searched. I'm getting my person searched. I'm getting humiliated. Where's the positive? And he looks at me and goes, Shiraz, when you tell your border crossing stories to people, you light up. You feed off their reaction to your adversity. It's like love. And you can't keep telling the same story because people will get bored with it. So you have to keep getting stopped at borders so you have new materials. So the border crossing isn't the problem, it's the solution. It's the fix of love at the end is your addiction.
Woo.
And I was like, what?
Yeah. Okay.
And so then I sort of extrapolated, and I worked with a lot of clients now. How many people are struggling and struggling? And you consciously, I want to get out of struggle, but you really like it when people go, "Oh my God, I hate that this is going on for you. I see you working so hard. You're going to have that big break one day." Every time those people are doing it, you're getting an emotional fix.
Sure.
And
Sure.
if you stop struggling, they're not going to say that anymore,
Oh my goodness.
right? So in that moment, I made a decision. I said, you know what? I'm going to get my joy from people celebrating my successes, not empathizing with my struggles. And
Celebrating the successes,
yes,
not empathizing with the struggles.
yes.
Okay.
And when I
Okay.
made that decision, I stopped getting stopped at borders.
Wow.
It just went away,
Wow.
right? And here's the things I realized after the fact, because now I can look back at it. Number one, do you know that there are non-white customs agents? It seems obvious. Well, yeah, there's all sorts of custom agents. I didn't because I was unconsciously lining myself up with the white ones to ensure racism. Right?
Wow. I mean,
And
this
then,
is
yeah,
amazing.
so I didn't know what I was doing it. I was just doing it because there was always a white person I got put in front of. Second thing is, what are customs agents trained for? To look for suspicious activity, the way people are handling themselves. What am I doing? I'm expecting to get stopped by someone, so I'm looking around who's going to be the one that stops me. I'm drawing them in.
Of course you are. This is really, I mean, stories are starting to pop into my head of things that I may be unaware that I'm drawing into my life.
Yep,
Oh my goodness. Okay, Shiraz, this is amazing. Okay. So you realize all this, you work through it, and then you started applying it in different areas.
yep. So one of the things is similar with the money. I made like I've still done well in life. I do about $100,000 a year. Well, I did. I did $1 million in sales last year, so I finally got through that. But I couldn't get past 100,000 for over a decade. I'm just stuck at 100,000. And while some people would be, I'd love to be at 100,000. When you're there and you're trying to make more, and nothing you do takes you up, it gets really frustrating. And so when I worked with one of my coaches, what we found out was when I was a teenager, my friends and my family were like, Shiraz, you're a really smart guy. You're very creative. We have no doubt you're going to be making millions. We
Uh-huh.
have no doubt you're going to have the house on the beach. You're going to be traveling the world. And then we get to come hang out with you, party at your house, travel with you. And my mind went, oh my God, they're all going to leech off me.
Ah, they
Right?
want you to do well so that they can enjoy it.
Yeah. And so I made this decision. $100,000 is enough that I can live comfortably, but it's not so much that people will descend on me and try to take advantage of everything.
Unbelievable.
Right. And so when we shifted my mindset, because again, it wasn't that they were going to do it, it's the feelings that I was going to feel if they tried. So I made a decision that if they want to come hang out with me, I can just say no. There's no guilt. And I'm not going to get upset with it. And when I did that over the next year, I went from 100 to $200,000. And last year I went to 1 million because of that one belief.
Quite a shift,
Right.
quite a reality shift.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm going to first of all tell you that it makes so much sense. I don't, audience, I'm not sure if you are all relating to this as much as I am. However, I'm guessing you are. It makes so much sense. And it ties in 100% and so beautifully with how accountability affects our success. You realized, but first you had to become aware, because I always say awareness is the first step, right?
Yes.
But you became aware because you were willing, you were talking to somebody, say, I'm trying to, these things are happening. You became aware of not only the story you were telling yourself, you also became aware of you got to the bottom of why you were telling that story to yourself,
Mhm.
brought you to this addiction to that part, which takes you to your mindset, everything about it. And if once we are aware, we then become accountable.
Mhm.
Well, I mean, we have a choice, an opportunity to become accountable to change our reality, our
Yes.
stories. Shiraz, this is beautiful. So what is the practice for you even to today? How long ago did this happen?
That was back in, had that awareness in 2006-ish. Yeah.
So, okay, quite some time ago.
Yeah.
And so what is your, and I don't want to make an assumption,
Mhm.
is your daily practice to make sure you stay, you're telling these right stories. How do you, what are the habits that you have developed?
So I take 100% responsibility and accountability
Mm.
for everything that shows up in my life, right? I don't make it about anyone else. I don't say, well, this happened because this person didn't show up or because of the economy or because whatever. Everything that's showing up, here's the thing I found out. Every consistent thing that's happening in your life, you want happening in your life. Doesn't matter if it's good or bad. And you've created an addiction to it. So if you're not making the money you want, it's not how do I make the money I want? It's why do I want to make this amount of money? Like that's where you want to go. If you're if you're ill, why do I want this illness? What's the advantage I'm not seeing out of this situation? Because there's always going to be one. It's just going to be an emotional advantage, not a physical one. Your mind doesn't care about the physical.
Because another question, we'll start with the monetary question.
Mm.
Why am I, like you were, comfortable with just this amount of money? I
Mm.
say I want another amount, but clearly this is the amount I'm making, and why am I stuck, if you will,
Yeah.
at this number? And it is because of what our subconscious
Mm.
is saying will happen when we make more. And when you address that, then you can address incredible. Now, I have to say, because that makes sense. That for me, and I'm guessing for at least most of the audience, that part, okay, get it, check. The illness part,
Mm.
little bit of a different, not
Nope.
different, not a different, and I knew you were going to correct me, so I stopped. Let's talk about that part for
Okay.
a moment, because that's, if we don't have our health,
Yep.
we don't have anything. So I'd like to start there. I feel like the audience is going to ask us this question.
Yeah.
So please let
It's
me
gonna
know.
be, it's gonna be, I didn't ask for cancer. I didn't ask for arthritis. I didn't ask for. So here's the hard truth here. Yeah, you did. You didn't consciously. Okay. And I'm not just saying this as someone that's saying, yeah, listen to me. Age 22, I got rheumatoid arthritis, every joint in my body, intense pain, weeks lying in bed at a time, just trying not to scream all the time. I had the arthritis for 18 years. Deterioration in my joints, cartilage dissolved away. I was grinding bone on bone, like,
It's
and
a
every joint.
terrible disease. I mean,
Yeah,
anything that is disease is terrible, but yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And like, and every single joint. Like, there were nights where I sipped my dinner through a straw because my jaw was so swollen from arthritis, I couldn't chew. Right. That's how intense this was. Tried everything, tried medication, tried diet, supplements, acupuncture, yoga, meditation, nothing would work. Sometimes I'd get a little bit of results start to come out of it, and then I'd lose it again. Right. And I was for a while, I thought this is just my life. It's a illness, it's hereditary. My mom had it, so this is just
Right.
what's happened. And then I was working with a mentor, and he asked me all these questions about my life, went through things for 2 weeks. It was like being with a psychiatrist. And except he wasn't trying to solve anything. He was just gathering all this information about who I am, what's going on. And then he says, okay, Shiraz, here's the problem. You believe you're responsible for everyone in your life. And I'm like, no, I don't. He said, I know you don't think you do, but from everything you've told me, you created this belief that you need to be responsible for everyone, and you created it when you were just a little kid. And I'm like, okay, I know I'm a responsible guy. I don't think I'm responsible for everyone. But even if I am, what's that got to do with arthritis? And he
Mm-hmm.
said, oh, you don't want to be responsible for everyone. That's too much work. I'm like, yeah. That if you're lying in bed in pain, you don't have to be responsible for anyone, and you don't have to feel guilty about it. The arthritis isn't the problem, it's the solution to the problem you're not looking at.
Wow.
Yeah.
So he said you need to look at
Why you feel you need to be responsible for everyone and
which
why
you
you feel
decided when you
guilty.
were young, when so much of when our belief system is formed.
Yep.
So up to age 7, let's just pretend, whatever this age is, because many people say that magic number is 7 or before. You took on responsibility in your own mind
Yeah.
for everyone you know and love, or everyone. I mean,
Yep.
and if you allowed yourself to accept this disease, which made sense because it's hereditary,
Mhm.
and you knew that, but if you
Yep.
took on this pain, then you didn't have to take on responsibility because you couldn't possibly take care of those people.
Yep.
Okay, so then what happened?
So
Said
when
still
he
unbelievable. Okay,
yeah, so when he explained it to me, I'm like, that's insane.
right.
Right? And he
I
said,
know people out there saying, what?
what?
Because
What?
my
Yeah,
mind is going,
that's where I was. I'm like,
okay,
that's
okay,
crazy. Why would I
okay,
do to that to myself? And it's one of the reasons you do that to yourself is your mind looks for things it knows that's familiar that it can relate to.
certainly.
Because I knew arthritis was hereditary in my family, it's like, well, the gene is there. Let's just turn on the gene. Right? So now I get out of the situation. I don't have to feel guilty. And remember, this always comes back to emotion. If I didn't feel guilty for not being able to take care of anyone, I wouldn't need the arthritis. But because I decided to feel guilt, and that was a decision I made,
For
we all
sure.
decide what emotions we feel. Although we may not think of it, we do.
I can go with that.
Okay.
We can all go with
So
that.
when I decided I don't need to be responsible for anyone, I don't need to feel guilty about it. I woke up the next day, there was no arthritis, no pain, no
Wait a
inflammation,
minute.
nothing.
This is one of those things. You're
Okay.
saying 18 years,
18 years.
horrific pain in the bed,
Horrific. Yeah.
couldn't get out, so, and literally trying not to be in tears from the pain.
Yeah. And
You're,
not every day. It would be like it would be
oh,
there for a
certainly,
while. I get used to it. I have part of a life, and then I'd hit again. Like, but I mean,
which a lot of people that I
yeah.
know and love that suffer from this horrific disease,
Mhm.
or rheumatoid arthritis in this example, it's sometimes based upon what they're eating and how they slept and all the things,
Mhm.
inflammatory, this, that, and the other. You had this conversation, one conversation or over time with your mentor,
We had 2 weeks of finding everything out, and then the one conversation.
and you woke up the next day and you felt better.
Yeah.
And I'm a,
So I
and
not
I,
just felt better, not just felt better. So I'm like, oh my God, what is going on? And at the place we were at, it was actually a retreat. There was a track there, and I was on that track every day, but I was doing that old man shuffle because I'm hunched over. Like
sure, sure,
I'm
yeah.
trying to stay somewhat fit. I get up this day, I go on that track, and I am passing everyone. I'm weaving in and out of people. They're all looking at me going, what the hell is happening?
Well, I guess they did.
Yeah.
And so
So now I want to be
on
clear about this. It's
medication,
not
was
that
your,
my body miraculously healed. The
okay,
damage was still there,
certainly.
right? And even now I'm this used to be fully locked and now I'm starting to get mobility back in my wrist. So it's not like suddenly everything was gone.
Right.
The arthritis though, the inflammation, the pain, it was gone because I didn't need it anymore.
The pain was gone. The physical effects you had to start working on, and you're still working on
Yeah.
today, because that's 18. And again,
Mhm.
just to clarify, you were on, I would think, a lot of medication for this.
No, I stopped with the medication because I saw the side effects the medication had on my mom. She started having liver problems. She became legally blind. And I'm like, I don't want those side effects. I'd rather just go through the pain.
Okay. So you were not on the medication.
Mm.
You were muscling through it, if you will,
Yeah.
and off and on, not very well.
Mhm.
So the pain, which was, again, just asking to clarify,
Mhm.
that was what you were addicted to, that was protecting you from taking on everyone, being responsible for everybody else.
Yeah. Yeah. It kept me out of the responsibility. I
So
can't do it. I'm in too much pain.
I am enough, consider myself very open-minded.
Mhm.
I'm also enough into the power of the brain and our thoughts and all that stuff that I can understand. I will,
Mhm.
this conversation, and I can't wait to talk to you more about it, can go with that. And the fact that the realistic part of this, and again, I don't want to speak for the audience, but I'm guessing for 80% of them, let's say, that the next question is, okay, so we can go with that and the reality of what your physical body had taken on and the damage that it had suffered,
Mhm.
and work on that, and it is getting better.
Yeah.
And okay, so, oh my goodness, Shiraz, I have so many questions, but I guess we're gonna have to just have you come on here a lot, because I can't wait to get the questions from the audience. Is there in your mind the idea that anybody's, I'm going to say it this way, not that they're born with it, but anyone who develops some type of an illness,
Mhm.
in that situation, they definitely need to go through this process and think about this. And if they do the work, it doesn't sound like, and if they're willing to be open-minded to this,
Mhm.
they could relieve themselves of at least the physical pain or whatever it is
Yeah.
that those illnesses take on,
Yes.
and then work through whatever damage has been done to their physical body.
Yes.
This is a very amazing conversation. And like you said, reality interventionist.
Mhm. And here's the thing, it's not just like, because some people are going, it's just woo and he's making this up. There's a field of genetics called epigenetics,
Mhm.
where they've discovered that your mental state will turn on and off genes in your body,
Oh, I believe that. Yes.
right? And that's scientifically shown now. And they've done experiments where you have people in a positive, nurturing environment that are prone for an illness never get it, because we can turn on and off genes. We don't, just because you have the gene doesn't mean you have the illness. You have the potential for the illness.
Wow. I'm not sure. Just this conversation is very cool anyway, but I don't know if you all can hear it, but the hurricane just left Houston, but I feel like it just came back. The lightning and thunder and stuff that's going on outside my studio is just unbelievable. Uh, well, this is a beautiful, a very hopeful, certainly a chance to talk about accountability at a whole different level, deeper than the stories, deeper than, but and I know the audience is thinking, okay, well, I want to get past $100,000 and I want to feel better.
Hmm.
You know, I just, wow, is all I can say. So tell us before, because I wish we had all day. And I feel like I say that in a lot of my conversations because I do. I love this so much. Um, you have been so generous and you're offering a gift to
Hmm.
the audience. Tell us a little bit about that.
In order to really change your reality, there's two components. Number one is what we've been talking about, getting the awareness of what's wrong,
Mhm.
finding out why you're there, and letting go of those beliefs, those stories of why you need it.
Okay.
The other side is programming your brain to think the thoughts you need to think instead of the ones that just show up and your mind says, let's think this instead of, positivity or wealth or abundance.
Right.
In order to reprogram your neural pathways to think those thoughts, you need to, at the minimum, be able to hold a thought for 30 seconds or more of what you
Okay.
want.
Okay.
Consistent thought. Most people can hold a thought for 7 seconds or less, which is about the same as a goldfish.
Wow.
So you see the problem, why 92% of people do never achieve the success they're going after.
Even if they change their thoughts, they're not changing their thoughts for long enough or often enough. They're not
Yeah.
consciously training the subconscious to hold on to these very important thoughts, which
So
all of our thoughts are so important. Yes.
that's it. So when you can keep a constant stream of consciousness going in your mind thinks it's actually happening. It doesn't register as just memories and thoughts and snapshots.
Right. Right.
So when you're thinking, I am healthy, or I am confident, or I'm good at making money, and you're holding that consistently with that feeling of that's true for 30 seconds or more, your mind thinks, oh, that's actually what's happening. That's who I am. And it starts
Okay.
reprogramming your neural pathways so that you show up as that person.
Right.
So I've created a series of audios called Stop Thinking Like a Goldfish audios that teach you to hold
Perfect.
thoughts. Yeah, right. And teach you to hold thoughts for 30 seconds or more. So that once you build that muscle up, you can now apply it to different areas in your life. Now, the audios are 2 minutes, 5 minutes, and 12 minutes long because we're just trying to break 30 seconds. You can
That's nice.
just
Yes.
listen for 2 minutes at a time. And you can use them like meditative audios, but they're designed so you could do it while you're out for a walk because you can focus on different sounds, and it's a matter of holding on to the focus of a sound for a certain amount of time. Or you can do it while touching things. I can focus on washing a dish for 30 seconds and keep my entire focus on that, because most of the time when you're washing a dish, your mind's somewhere else thinking this and that and that. This is about
Absolutely.
being very, very focused. As
Yes.
a result, you're going to start to see different changes in your life. And the side effects of the audios are you become calm in crazy situations. Unexpected happens, you're like, no, I got this.
Well, I'll be using the audios because a couple of things have popped up that I guess I'm clearly addicted to, which is not surprising. I have that type of a personality. So that's also, I'm just going to throw this out there for those of us that realize I have to be very careful of what I dive into because I dive in deep. And it pick anything. If I'm going to do it, I'm going to probably dive in very deeply. So, but there are other people that have what I'm going to say a little bit more stable thought process. But that what's amazing here is this is a common denominator for everyone. I mean, regardless of the amount of money you're making, regardless of the age, if you're talking about personal relationships, I mean, you got to be kidding me. Going to the airport, oh, this always happens to me.
Yep.
And if any of us, so audience, I'm just repeating this so we all understand. Anytime we find ourselves saying out loud or to ourselves, this always happens to me, there is an underlying, not just we need to change. Oh, I always go through here easily. I say it a lot. I park in karma. I really do. And I do. However, when I am telling myself something that's not great, like I have parking karma, there is an underlying reason why I have decided to retain that belief. More than likely is protecting me from either an emotion or a responsibility or something else.
Yes.
Okay, this is fabulous. And I thought, I mean, I always know the more I learn, the less I know. However, this is really fun because personal development is my favorite thing in the world, other than my faith and family. However, I'm not good at either one of those unless I do my personal development. So I can hardly wait to get my hands on these things and do a little thinking on this from the bottom of my heart. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And so you, with your gift, I'm so excited. I'm just getting so excited. The gift that you're offering, audience, this is a big deal, is an opportunity to get access to these wonderful audios.
Mhm. Yes. Now, there is something I need to warn you about the audios. If,
Please.
if you download them and put them on your hard drive and don't listen to them, they don't work. Okay. So
Right.
uh,
Just
it
a
seems
little public
obvious.
service announcement.
Right.
Download, don't listen, not going to work. Well, this
Right.
is going to be fun to continue this conversation. And I just thank you so much for your time, for your sharing your amazing story, and this opportunity for people to go a little deeper and start with the awareness. What do I say always happens to me that I'm not excited about? Let's get on that list.
Mm.
And thank you, audience. I mean, my goodness gracious, accountability. And thank you, Shiraz. I'm looking so forward to speaking with you again.
Me too.
And I'm going to go check on this fabulous storm outside. And thanks to everybody.